Don't write off Axiom Verge as a Metroid clone. Though the game may look very similar, Axiom Verge has a personality all its own. Sure, it borrows Metroid's skeleton, but it builds upon that skeleton with mounds of slimy, futuristic alien sinew and muscle. The story of Axiom Verge is standard but effective. Trace is a scientist involved in a lab accident. After the accident, he wakes up in a mechanical egg in this futuristic alien world, and he starts communicating with a robotic entity in an attempt to discover just where he is and how he got there. Throughout the course of the game, the narrative takes a few twists and turns, but largely stays out of its own way. There's just enough story to maintain interest, but not so much that it demands center stage. And that's a good thing, because Axiom Verge's strength is undeniably its gameplay. Now, as is the case with any Metroidvania-style game, players must explore and collect equipment and power-ups to reach previously inaccessible areas of a very large map. Nothing new there. But what truly separates Axiom Verge is the unique variety of equipment and weapons at Trace's disposal. By the end of the game, Trace will be able to teleport through walls, hack enemies, deploy a cute little drone, grapple on ceilings, and a lot more. The weapons are even better, with guns that spray ice shards and electricity and branching beams of energy. Running across new items and abilities is an exhilarating experience, and I often found myself exploring every nook and cranny of an area to ensure that I didn't miss anything before I moved on to the next. The sense of empowerment that the new abilities and weapons bestow upon Trace is really tangible. By the end of the game, you feel like a true threat, and that's due in large part to the game's unique inventory. But really, what good are weapons without enemies to use them on? Well, Axiom Verge doesn't disappoint in that regard either. Enemies are just as unique in behavior and appearance as Trace's tools are. You'll encounter dozens of creepy and frustratingly difficult minions throughout the course of the campaign, all of which provide interesting new challenges. Bosses are mostly impressive in their scale, often taking up the entirety of the screen and requiring very accurate shooting and even more accurate platforming. These battles fall on both sides of the difficulty spectrum, with the early bosses being complete pushovers and the later bosses being genuinely difficult. It's an effective way for the game to ease novice players into the action without slowing things down. However, I do wish that the boss difficulty was consistent across the board. Most importantly, Axiom Verge's controls are among the tightest I've ever encountered. This makes movement very crisp, very satisfying, and it really feels reminiscent of the movement of Alucard from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It puts both success and failure firmly in the hands of the player. If you miss a jump, it's on you, not the game. It's disappointing that the aesthetic of Axiom Verge, even though it's nice to look at, is so similar to Metroid. I feel that, sure, it's going to bring some new players in that maybe have fond memories of Metroid, but I think the game is competent enough to stand on its own. It has its own style, and hopefully for the sequel, the creator branches out a little bit and does something that is wholly unique with Axiom Verge. As it stands, Axiom Verge is the best Metroidvania title in years, and it has the chops to stand next to the best in the genre. If it's a genre that you enjoy, don't even think twice about it. Just jump right in, have fun, try to put the comparisons out of your mind, and just enjoy Axiom Verge for what it is.